We see a lot of athletes become frustrated, then they start to become aggressive from that frustration. Can you elaborate on this?
Well, there is the frustration-aggression hypothesis. This is where something has prevented someone from achieving their goal and it creates frustration for that person. Dollard said in 1939 that aggression occurs because frustration arises due to a goal blockage. So he is saying that frustration is responsible for aggression. So in a sporting context, let's say we are in a football match. The aim is to win. However, the opposition scores and it's preventing them from winning. This would provide frustration for the players as the game goes on, and the frustration will build up and cause them to perhaps make the wrong decisions, such as start a fight or do a dirty challenge. This has led to aggression. The decision that the aggressive player made could lead to a punishment such as a red card, like we have seen today with Rao. This can build up even more frustration and aggression. So this hypothesis is explaining that aggression is only caused through frustration. And yes, there has been criticisms in this, such as there not actually been much evidence to show frustration is the only thing that triggers aggression, which is kind of obvious, to be honest with you. And if it's frustration that is the only thing that causes aggression, then the social learning theory does not work, as they would not have learned it. This theory was actually looked at by Berkowitz, and he developed this called the aggression cue hypothesis. This is where Berkowitz believed that frustration does not directly cause aggression. He thinks frustration increases arousal. Arousal is the alertness and readiness of someone, and frustration stimulates that. And this high arousal can mean you are more ready to be aggressive, so it can more likely happen. For example, in a match, it may be a high intensity game, tough tackles, and it could be like a derby like today's game. This environment may stimulate players' arousal as they may need to be more alert. If there perhaps becomes hostile or instrumental aggression, such as a bad tackle like today, or perhaps taking a player out when there is a counter attack, this can cause eruption on the pitch, such as fights between players, and this would mainly be because of that built-up arousal caused by the frustration and intensity of the game. So this theory is similar to Dollard's frustration-aggression hypothesis. However, it's more to do with the effects of frustration that frustration has on aggression indirectly.
And coaches, how do the coaches know what to do with the players if there is aggression?
Coaches will need to understand their players' types of personality and how to control and take advantage of their aggressive mindset. Some athletes will be more aggressive than others, so coaches will need to be careful on what to encourage and who to encourage. In the dressing rooms, coaches can either be extremely aggressive themselves or encouraging. This can have an effect on players, as some players can't take criticism very well and builds up frustration and potentially aggression. And encouraging some players to be assertive can be a bad idea to the players who drive up aggression and encouraging roughness can escalate into aggression. So it shows that coaches do need to be careful and they really need to know their players. I recall Alex Ferguson once saying in the dressing room that if we lose, then it's so and so's fault. This puts a huge amount of pressure on that player, and it can affect them mentally, such as aggression and frustration as well. Therefore, coaches can have a huge part to play with the aggression of their players.
And finally, Josh, what are the ways to reduce aggression?
Well, there are many ways for people to reduce aggression, whether it is players, coaches, referees, or almost anyone. When players have self-control, they know when they're getting aggressive and angry. Therefore, to prevent themselves from getting into trouble or causing hostile aggression, they may substitute themselves off the pitch to prevent any more build-up of aggression. This is seen as a very responsible thing to do in football. You would also say coaches try to reduce aggression by perhaps substituting the players off the pitch themselves to prevent any red cards or injuries, or perhaps calm the players down and tell them to relax. Referees are a bit controversial on reducing aggression, as they can send players off with a red card so there wouldn't be any more aggression on the pitch. However, the reaction of the players getting sent off may be very aggressive, as they may not agree with the decision. So referees do give punishments to players to punish and deter from hostile and instrumental aggression. But if it is a bad decision with the punishment, it could even stimulate aggression.
Thank you very much for that, Josh. The second half is about to start here at Town Park, where Grimsby are about to kick off the second half against Scunthorpe.
Thanks, Gary. See you soon.